Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about cheat meals, okay? If you deserve it, if you don't. Okay, so it's important to understand that having a cheat meal has to tick a few boxes, okay? And where you're at now, sat there listening, will dictate, well, where your goals are now will dictate if you need one, why you need one, etc. Okay, so I'm going to give you two examples. So let's say you're a top bodybuilder, you've got very, very low body fat, you're in a diet phase. You might want to have a cheat meal for a certain reason, okay? It might give you a boost, okay, in performance, okay? Where if you're sat on the listening now and you're just starting off your weight loss journey and you've got quite a lot of weight to go, a cheat meal would have to be given for a different reason, okay? So let's get into it.
So for the general population who are watching this, the latter who Andy was speaking of, this is who we're aiming at. Now, let's say you've got an individual, got 2 stone to lose. It's going to take them a long time to get that to that end point. Now we know as coaches, if we're to get that person to the end point, they're more than likely not going to be adherent to plan 100% of the time. Yeah. So what you can use with cheat meals or off-plan meals, whichever way you want to word it, is you want to use it as an adherence tool. You want to work it in, you want to plan it ahead. So let's say, for example, you've got somebody in the week and then Saturday night they're going out for a meal with loved ones. You will then plan for that meal out. You'll try and keep it relatively clean. You know, a cheat meal doesn't mean 2 pizzas and a Ben & Jerry's. You've got to remember what the ultimate goal is, and this is fat loss. So you don't use a cheat meal to be a pig.
You don't indulge.
You don't indulge. It's there to give you a little bit of break from the diet per se. Then what you do, you plan it in, you enjoy it, and then you go back to plan. But the majority of the time people struggle is because they do it without planning. Yeah. And they say they're going to be somebody, that this is the way they're going to be really to plan, and then they fall off plan, and this is where people get issues with eating cheat meals.
Yeah, it's key to understand that you, like Zach said, you have to work it in and you have to have a strategy to the cheat meal. So what we like to do with our clients is we set a few rules to the cheat meal. Now, first of all, we don't really call it a cheat meal, right? Do we? It's just
a negative connotation to eating some food.
It's just having, you know, a different kind of meal, we'll say, okay? So some of the rules that I like to stick to is that it's not the full day. So a meal is one meal, okay? It's not the full day. Now, around the cheat meal, it's important that firstly you're hydrated, okay? So we always say if you're coming into the cheat meal dehydrated, that's a really bad start.
You're going to eat a lot of food.
You'll eat a lot more calories than if you was hydrated, okay? So rule number 1, you're hydrated. Rule number 2 is that from the start of the day to the cheat meal, it's exactly to the plan that you've been set, okay? So it's not a full cheat day, like I say, it's just that one meal. Now, what we like to say is because we want some guidelines to it and it can't be food that is so crazy high in calories, because that's just going to ruin the weekly total of average of calories, we like to say it has to include a certain amount of nutrients, okay? So for us, we say the cheat meal has to contain protein. Okay, you have to have some kind of protein in that meal amongst the things that you like as well. But that's another rule, you have to have some kind of protein with the cheat meal. Okay, it can't just be all liquid sugar. Okay, you can't be drinking loads and loads of fizzy drinks and all that kind of stuff, okay? Another rule is once you've had that meal, you are done, okay? It's not 5 sit-ins. As soon as you finish that one meal, you don't get up and come back to it. You don't drag it out over 5 hours or drag it out over 2 hours. It's just once your meal that is on the table is gone, that's you done, okay? Like Zach said, you don't want to drag it out, okay? The risk of overeating on calories is so much higher if you don't implement a strategy within a cheat meal, okay? They are very individual to people, okay? So we are being quite vague and quite broad here, so to speak, and because sometimes not everybody should have one, okay? But
not everybody likes having them either.
And not everyone, because it could make them go too crazy. It could trigger off somebody eating, And
that's knowing your own mindset as well. That's just being honest with yourself. Because again, what you got to remember is what's the goal. If your fat loss is your goal, you should be doing everything in your power to get there. So if a cheat meal means you can enjoy some food and get back on plan and it refreshes you, it's a good thing. Yeah. Now we've worked with many clients who want a cheat meal as soon as they start. That meal he was on about overlaps. Starts going to 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, weekend. A week's gone, they've come back, oh yeah, I've just had shit for a week. So it can trigger, so you've got to know yourself. But another tip on what Andy was saying was, if you're going out for the cheat meal, once the meal's done, it's good, you can walk away and leave. A lot of people buy the food in and they buy extras. The key is you do not buy the extras, because once them extras are in, it's getting eaten.
Game over.
You know it's in the cupboard. No matter if you've hid it, you know where it is. So them sneaky little beaky hands of yours come out, start grabbing it. So you want to avoid and stay to the limits of what you've set. And it's by setting the target of what it's about.
Yeah. So once you've got your strategy for the cheat meal, that's when you can actually use it as a great tool for adherence and to actually keep you interested in the diet and keep you moving forwards and losing weight over time. Now again, like we keep saying, it is individual to the person. Like, not everybody should have a cheat meal for some of these reasons, like it might trigger you. You might just be too out of shape yet. You just need to knuckle down more. You know, you didn't quite hit compliance in the week, so you don't get that cheat meal. It's like, this is only if all of your things are ticked. If all the boxes are ticked and you're moving forwards, your calories are tracked through the week, your training's been done. Like, I would never personally tell any clients to have the cheat meal if all compliance wasn't 100%. If they've missed 2 workouts for the week for whatever reason, if they're down on some activity and they didn't track their calories, not a chance would you get a cheat meal. Never. Okay, it's only when calories are tracked and we're actually moving forwards and everything is being done. That's when you can start to look at having a meal to increase compliance.